Hey y'all, thanks so much for joining my Assassin's Creed stream. How are y'all today? I'm cosplaying as one of the NPCs, I guess. So as y'all know, I just printed my first novel. It's Mortal Lost City, and I'm still reviewing it to the final copy, but I am already working on the sequel. And so I turned to Assassin's Creed to look at inspiration and see how they've done it because obviously it's all about historical eras. Anyway, as I was researching Assassin's Creed, I was realizing how similar my story is with the backstory in Assassin's Creed in terms of like the fictional Genesis, and then also the reincarnation ideas. And I was like, was this something I picked up on as a kid? Because I didn't have a console growing up. I didn't have any video game consoles. However, my cousins would let me often play Assassin's Creed. And so I'm wondering if I was like 11 to 15 years old, I may have picked up some of these like backstory elements without even knowing. But anyway, the parallels from Assassin's Creed to my novels, I'm realizing, is because of a shared deep dive into some ancient cultures, most notably Gnosticism and Norse mythology as well, and Greek mythology. So that's why there's such a parallel. Anyway, I did realize that I still have something original that's not exactly how Assassin's Creed have done it. So I just want to put that out there. But in my presentation, I'm going to show you what elements I do feel like are very similar and how I've personally strayed from the plot. But anyway, I'm going to put this aside for now. But there is an Atlantis whole story arc in, obviously, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So we'll go through that. But anyway, I think one of the amazing things that Assassin's Creed gets right is obviously the fair use, because they're taking in actual historical people from the past. So anyway, hi, welcome, Spirit, and 707 live stream. Yay. I'm glad that I can participate in this with y'all. Now, there are book series. I didn't actually go get the books because that's not what I was interested in. I was interested in how they've mapped out, visualized in the game, meeting historical figures. So without further ado, let's go. This is my presentation. I'm just gonna hit play and pause where I deem fit. There might be some slides with audio, so if that starts to alert you, I'll make sure to pause. But yeah, Assassin's Creed. As you guys know, there's plenty of them. It starts out with the trilogy expansion into quadrilogy and then has several other packs. And these are just some of the characters that you obviously get to play. It did start in 2007 and it does deviate quite a lot. So we're gonna look at the first one first, which is obviously just Assassin's Creed. And you play as Desmond Miles, and he's in the 2012 era. And of course, they chose in 2012, a very poignant time, because as you remember, 2012 was like the Mayan prediction of the apocalypse. So they've kind of played into that with Assassin's Creed, choosing that 2012 timeline with Desmond Miles. Now, if you are new or not, you will probably remember some of this imagery having circulated. But anyway, this is an Animus. It's like a VR device where you go in. However, the caveat is that it allows you to access genetic memory. So in this first version, Desmond is accessing his ancestors' like life and DNA through this Animus device, and he's kind of a test subject. And anyway, this is his ancestor. So his ancestor is called Altair, I believe that's how you say it, and he is alive during the year 1191. And so that's kind of like the story arc there. Now it goes deeper. This is why I brought up comparisons with my own book, and we'll get there slowly. So there's other ancestors of Desmond that you get to know through the other series. So it starts with the first one, then you go to the second one with Ezio, and he's in the 1400s. And then you go to, this one's actually the fourth, but it does cover his ancestor Edward Kenway, and that's during 1700s. And then the third one is, I believe his name is Connor Kenway, and that's his ancestor as well, and that's during the 1750 and 1760. So this is kind of like the first plot is this Desmond storyline. And now we have to talk about what makes Desmond so special. I mean, you've seen here that he's kind of like got these ancestors who are these, you know, really important people in history and assassins. Why? Why is that? Why is his lineage so important? So that's kind of where the story takes you, is why is Desmond so important? And this is where it gets into Gnostic lore and all that jazz to kind of explain this. Well, I'll let the clip start. So the Animus looks like this. You're in like laying down, right? And yeah, you get this kind of like VR thing, which incredible, amazing. Like this scene is so cool where you start to like go into the VR and you're now playing as his ancestor. And it's like stunning in terms of, I don't know, like the visual world that you're in is like a simulation. What's happening? Okay, so this is the end of the Assassin's Creed. And this is a bad guy, right? So what I wanted to point out here is the final scene that so the whole reason that they've got him in this Animus thing is to unlock a memory of his ancestor, right? So they want to unlock. So you go through the whole game trying to unlock his memory. And then the last memory is this. And it's about this guy holding what is called a piece of Eden. So that already feels biblical, right? We're already talking Genesis here with Eden. Okay, so it looks like a energy orb, but they're playing off like the apple of Eden, like the forbidden fruit. So gods who retreat from this world that men might slaughter one another in their names. They live amongst an illusion already. I'm simply giving them another, one that demands less blood. At least they choose these phantoms. Or do they? Aside from the occasional convert or heretic? It isn't right. And now logic has left you. In its place, you embrace emotion. I am disappointed. What's to be done then? You will not follow me, and I cannot compel you. Okay, so you get the point. So he's finally found the Apple of Eden in the first game. So you're probably wondering why now, what is this piece of Eden, and why does his ancestor know where it is, and all this. So that's what I'm going to explain next. So first of all, this is when he gets the piece of Eden.
I can't. Yes, you can, Altair. But you won't.
Very cool, archaic energy kind of that we're working here. So,
we don't need them all. We should assume some amount of decay.
He gets the piece of Eden, and then that's kind of how the first one ends. He eventually escapes from this like testing zone.
Or think it or something.
Want me to ask it?
Okay, so pieces of Eden, as we were just talking about, there's quite a few. There's not just this apple. I think there's like, okay, some stuff, a skull, a sword. I forget what that is. But you get the and a ring. So all these are technically, yes, from Eden. But the story of Eden is quite different from the Christian lore, and I'd say it's even a bit different from the Gnostic lore. So I will share with you what they actually pulled from in terms of religion.
Want me to ask it?
Or think it or
But yeah, basically Desmond has this DNA that allows him to operate this piece of Eden. That's why he specifically is so important. I just love how like all this is mainstream, but then you actually talk about it and like people are like, what? But it's like literally an Assassin's Creed. But anyway. So there's this also caveat that like even though he can control it, the person that's talking to him right now is like some ancestor, like mega ancestor, equivalent to an Archon in Gnostic lore or the Anunnaki in Sumerian lore. So they're kind of like ancient alien kind of type. So they can control him through this. So there's a caveat for him being able to hold the piece of Eden. But anyway, so this is the main villain, and she is, as I just said, like there's some Anunnaki figure. So I will share with you that, because I think this is what I took away as like the most shocking out of this universe, is that how historical the connections are to religion. But anyway, so yeah, again, so these are the Isu, and the top three is Minerva, Juno, and Jupiter. Yes, these come from like Roman pantheons, and this is the most evil. Okay, they're evil because this is so complicated. But basically, not all of them are evil, but Juno specifically is evil. She wants to take over the human race. So they want to control the human race with the pieces of Eden, like that apple that you just seen. So that's the creation story has to be talked about. So they basically created humans. I'm trying to find the spot because I have somebody explaining it, but I kind of just want to instead explain it myself. Okay, here. So, it's Sumerian lore. You guys have probably heard of the Anunnaki, right? They were the race that is in the Sumerian text, as they come from a different star system or galaxy, like the Pleiades in the sky, and they, at first colonized Mars, and then something happened and Mars is no longer. And then the Anunnaki colonized Earth, and they created humans as some sort of like help towards them. So this is very much what they pulled from. So the Isu's equivalent. Like the Isu basically are these otherworldly beings that created humans as sort of to help them. And so Desmond, the original character, has Isu DNA. So he is kind of like, can operate the pieces of Eden and all this thing. But anyway, talking about Gnosticism, you got the planetary archons, and this is very similar in a way to the Anunnaki and the Isu. But the planetary archons didn't create humans. They kind of just control humans. So in my book, I've used the planetary archons. So that's when I was like looking into Assassin's Creed, I was like, oh my god, did I pull anything off the Isu? Technically, no. I just read the Gnostic text, and I pulled from planetary archons and a bit from the Sumerian text, the Anunnaki. But I do differentiate in my work because, albeit my archons in the Mortal series are quite similar to the Isu, I have a different legion of gods as well. So in my series, not only do you get the planetary archons, which are very much like the Assassin's Creed Isu, you got like the Roman influence, like Minerva, Jupiter, Juno. But in my series, you get the Aeons. So the Aeons are in my series the good gods, and in my series, the Aeons, God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, created humans, while the Archons are planetary rulers like Mars, Venus, Saturn, etc., that are trying to control humanity. So quite different than Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed is kind of, I'd say, a bit fatalistic in the sense that in Assassin's Creed we are created by these kind of awful, like so awful, that so when the Isu create humans, they create when the Isu create humans in the Assassin's Creed universe, they basically put brain chips in in the humans so that they're easy to control with the pieces of Eden. So that's what they do. So it is quite dark in that sense. Let me play this, see if now it makes a bit more sense.
Interpreted the Isu as Nephilim, or the Archons. Other mythological interpretations, such as the Capitoline Triad, Etruscan Triad, Olympus, along with other cultures' mythological nomenclature of gods and supreme beings, both monotheistic and polytheistic, all directly or indirectly are inspired by the Isu themselves. Anatomy. Anatomically, the Isu are quite similar to humanity on a superficial level. However, they possess many characteristics that make them a far superior race. They are physically more imposing, with some of them being 20 inches taller than the average human. They possess 6 senses instead of 5. Not the other way, but civilization to predate humanity. Later, Juno revealed that their civilization is known as the Isu. Upon speaking with narrative director Darby McDevitt, he confirmed that the name Isu was inspired by Egyptian language. Of course, in the lore, the Isu are what inspired Egyptian mythology, not the other way around. I conducted a research into Egyptian language and found the word Asu, I-S-W, with W rather than a U, also pronounced Asu or Isu, translates to ancient ones. The Anglo-Saxon branch of the Order of the Ancients, along with Saint Brendan of Clonfert, who was also a sage, interpreted
so
the
now you get it.
So
yeah, so they're like the Archons. And then, okay, so after we get past the Isu, so now you understand what they are, and kind of like, yeah, we got to, okay, so now let's talk about the Apple of Eden specifically, because it's so integral to the first film. Oh, sorry, the first series game. So Assassin's Creed 2 kind of goes into the lore of the apple, which again is allegedly the Adam and Eve, but it ends up looking kind of like a Quidditch golden snitch, but it's like an energy orb. So with this they can, in fact, here, I think I have a video somewhere here.
For example,
okay, here's it explains
for example,
how it works.
The Apple of Eden is an enthralling device that reacts to a specific neurotransmitter in the human brain that allows the Isu to control these subjected to its beam, creating visual illusions, but it also has the capability to preserve some forms of data. It was also discovered that the Apple, when subjecting numerous subjects to its beam, and they all think of one project which resulted in the creation of humanity by artificially evolving existing species to serve as a docile workforce, as well as an
okay, the reason I put caution tape over this scene is because it is about Adam and Eve, and they are in zero raiments, meaning they are not wearing any clothes. So I have cautioned it, but the story goes that it's like that Isu, like Anunnaki-like creatures create like a dystopian kind of set in a different, I don't know, maybe in our past, kind of like the Atlantis storyline where there's like an ancient advanced civilization. Anyway, so Adam and Eve escape Eden, and by stealing that apple, and that's how they first, you know, get their free will.
And military force to the Isu. It was proposed by feigning by artificially that the apple, when subjecting numerous subjects to its beam, and they all think of one project which resulted in the creation of humanity by artificially evolving existing species to serve as a docile workforce, as well as an expeditionary and military force to the Isu. It was proposed by Phanes and commissioned by the Central Isu Authority. Humanity, as ordered by the then-father, Yaldabaoth, was designed to be free in action but not in mind, with credulous imagination, see patterns where there are none, and avoid correlations that go against their desires.
Okay, so you get it. The Adam and Eve escape by taking one of these because they were mind controlled before, but now they've taken it. So that's kind of his ancestors knew where it was hidden, and that's why Desmond is searching for that apple. And in my series, I also have the Apple of Eden, and I also have the Gnostic lore. I also have Yaldabaoth. So both Assassin's Creed and the Mortal series heavily, you know, Gnostic and reinterpretations. Although I'd argue that Assassin's Creed takes the more Sumerian route than Gnostic, and my series takes more Gnostic than Sumerian. But either way, it is really exciting to have seen these parallels. Because yeah, I'm not a gamer. I don't game. I literally just played growing up a little bit, but I don't know. It's still exciting. And I'm not like, okay. Wait, I forgot where I was going with that. But whoa! Okay, that is really loud. What is going on there? Sorry about that. I knew there's gonna be a jump scare. Okay, so now that we've talked about the Desmond storyline, let's talk about the kind of expansions that happened, which was Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla. You play this character, Layla Hassan, and she's kind of like she used to work for this company, the same company that made the Animus, that VR device. So she knows how to configure it. So she kind of like hacks one, and through her, she kind of goes into these other assassins storylines. So that's kind of like the next series after Desmond. And then after that, with Rogue, Unity, and Syndicate, you're now like able to go into the Animus through kind of like a VR headset. You're basically an employee that they've developed the technology so far in advance in the future that you know it is like a VR headset. So this company that created the Animus way back with Desmond is now, you know, it's past 2012. It's now in like 2016, 2018. I don't actually know how far in advance it goes, maybe even like not right now. And this company allows people to use the Animus, and it's kind of like a recruitment method. They allow people to use the Animus, but in order to like see if you have high ISO. And again, they're trying to find people with high ISO, like high ISO, high ISO DNA. And basically you're trying to find more high ISO DNA like Desmond. And it's kind of a method for them to recruit through this VR game. And I think that's it about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone says dark contact lenses in the future. Interesting. Okay, so I wanted to pull some clips from each of these series because I really love how they have, again, digitalized some of these historical figures. So I'm going to go in now and kind of share closer. All right, so let's start with Odyssey. And this one is the King Leonidas. You're playing as his his grandchildren or something. So you guys remember King Leonidas? I mean, you've all seen the movie 300. He's a Spartan warrior. So the grandson and granddaughter of King Leonidas is Alexios and Cassandra, and these are who you play. And so already right off the bat, it's really connecting with history because this was a real character in history. And I'm also gonna okay, so it's also kind of said that they got this Alexios character from Odysseus. They kind of inspired, but anyway, so Odysseus is in my story too, because again, it is fair use. Let me bring out the book. Okay, Odysseus is obviously from the Iliad and Odyssey. This book is so ancient. I think it's 700 BC. So obviously all the characters are fair use. And you're going to find Odysseus, obviously, in the Odyssey. So here, Odysseus, you know, and so that's why you can use Odysseus in your character, in your novel. Or King Leonidas. So my Odysseus is more like a seafarer with energy. And this is AI renditions. Leonidas was actually okay, Leonidas 300. So now if you forgot, now you remember, because everybody knows this character. You know what? I hadn't even really thought about. So in my sequel, this is kind of why I've like chosen this topic, because my sequel, so my first book in the Mortal series, it covers like ancient times, like let's say Isu timeline, so Aeon timeline in my series, and this is before the world is really created. So my sequel is now going to be about when the world's already created, and it's going to have all these historical figures. So I was trying to kind of like pull some ideas from Assassin's Creed for my sequel, and one of the characters that I've decided to include is also King Leonidas. And I'm yassifying every single character in my series, so they're gonna be young, they're gonna be good looking. This is exactly what I'm doing, because look how they painted Pythagoras in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is Socrates. They look pretty ridiculous, I'm not gonna lie. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna yassify them. And I already have Pythagoras and Socrates kind of at the end of my series after Atlantis. But yeah, Pythagoras yassified in my series. Young, energy orbs. Not this dude that like kind of gives me the creeps, not gonna lie.
What is the meaning of this?
Socrates
The path becomes
yassified.
clear. What is the meaning of this? The path becomes clear. What is the meaning of this?
Oh my god,
The path
sorry,
becomes
it's in there
clear.
like 3 times. So Nyx is a Greek mythology character. I also have Nyx in my series. But my Nyx is gonna look a bit differently. So this is my Nyx. She's actually looks like this. Nyx means the night in Greek. So she's actually gonna be looking like night in my series. And Aspasia is a villain in Assassin's Creed. Actually, I do have Aspasia already in my series. She is also a villain. I was struggling to paint her as a villain, but because Assassin's Creed did, I was like, oh, okay, history did paint her as a villain, so that's fine. Aletheia is a Gnostic goddess, so they actually pulled Gnostic goddess for this series. More like this in my series. And I thought it's funny that they included the final boss, the Cyclops, which is straight out of the Odyssey. It's the end, not the end, but one of the main characters. Alright, our origins is exciting because it's 49 BC. It's the era of Cleopatra. So, Ptolemaic Egypt. You play Bayek. And you get to meet Cleopatra and Caesar. Oh, before we go through, I actually wanted to pull, oh my god. So before, I actually like pulled samples of Socrates and Pythagoras. And you kind of have to see this because it's hilarious. So let me just pull it up. Okay.
If he needs the horse more than the man he stole it from, let him keep it.
So this
It
is
will do him more good.
Socrates.
So, determining whether a crime deserves a consequence or reward is dependent on the reasons behind it? An intriguing thought, although I can see how dangerous such thinking might be.
The real question is whether my decision matters at all, or if this was just another test to see.
I've got a bunch of them. So here's Pythagoras, for example. So he, I think that's another artifact of Eden, this triangle thing. But this is how he contacts Pythagoras.
Alexios, It was never supposed to be like this. Decades ago, a group of people gathered together to uphold a theory which they believed could control the universe.
Okay, so then there's like this whole part with like him in Atlantis. So Pythagoras in Atlantis, which is kind of funny too.
This is incredible. The knowledge stored here is overwhelming. It will take me years to decipher it all.
What about sealing Atlantis? Have you found a way to do it?
That's so cool.
Oh, yes, I
Okay,
think so.
because like
Well, what is it?
The staff. The staff is the key.
All right, it's time.
so
I can't.
So yeah, Lost City. I didn't know it was a chapter in Assassin's Creed Odyssey that they literally call it the Lost City too. But yeah. So in this, Atlantis is like a simulation. Anyway, I thought that was interesting how, you know, they meet. So now that back to the presentation, you kind of get like what I'm talking about in terms of using fair use and using these characters from history. And that's really what makes Assassin's Creed really interesting. I don't think it would have worked without the historical characters. Okay, so I've also got Cleopatra. And I've got Caesar. So, let's go and see how they play out in the game. But hi, chat. So let me just read over some things. So they're making a new one this year, right? They're dropping it. I know the last one wasn't as well received. Alright, so Origins. Oh, what I really liked about the Origins one was you get to see that Library of Alexandria.
How will I find Aya on all these endless scrolls?
He has some interesting ideas. Very radical.
So cool.
It's almost alarming.
You're right about that. But can't he express them concisely?
The knowledge of the entire world is at your fingertips.
Oh my god. Okay, so I've included the the Library of Alexandria in my series too, because Cleopatra is also in my series, right? So somewhere in here, here I've got the Pythagorean Brotherhood on this page, and then Socrates and all that. So after Socrates and Pythagoras, I'm assuming then that's when I've got the okay, yeah. Here in this area is where I've got Cleopatra and Antony. So I've also kind of just done a very similar thing here where like I've basically combined Odyssey and Origin into a book already. And I'm kind of going from there. So mine kind of ends after Origins, right after Origins. So I've not included like the Knights Templar yet, or the French Revolution, or the American Revolution. So that's my sequel. This is my sequel now. Is after this kind of stuff that I've written about. But Cleopatra's quite funny looking. Here's what she looks like.
Yes. I must ask you a favor, though. The tomb. I fear Lord Caesar should have the honor to bear witness to the author of our kingdom, Alexander the Great.
You want to impress your new lover, I see. The tomb is sealed, no?
Okay, and then here's Caesar.
Receive their orders. Patience, Caesar.
Die is cast. Come, we go to the battlefield. Medjay!
Alright. So after Odyssey and Origin, let's see. Oh. Is Valhalla. 800 AD. Here you play Eivor, who's either a girl or a guy, and then their partner. And then Odin is actually a character in my series already. He's actually one of the main characters. So I've already got Odin. He looks like this in Valhalla, and then I think I'm gonna do more like a Legolas character looking character for me, for my series. A yassified Odin. Alright, so now let's talk about the first series. Again, covers 1191 with Altair. Alright, so this series about the British and the Templars, and obviously Desmond's role in that. Oh my god, sorry about this audio. Lucy is a girl that helps you, but then kind of defects. But anyway, so Desmond, Altair, he meets this girl named Maria. And I thought it was going to be like a Tron incident where like Maria was Lucy, but that's not actually the case. But anyway, Richard Lionheart in history and Robert de Sablé actually also in history. And of course, they blame everything on the Templars. And they blame the Templars on the Mortal Instruments. They blame the Templars on, what else? The Da Vinci Code, which I have both here. And they blame the Templars. Sorry, I'm looking at my library. They blame the Templars in National Treasure. So they always blame the Templars for everything. But anyway, in the Assassin's Creed 2, you're also playing on Ezio, which is another Desmond's apparitions or whatever, ancestors. I actually quite liked Creed 2. I thought it was probably the most fun because you get to meet Leonardo da Vinci, and he's also in my series that I'm gonna pull from in the sequel. Again, young version of Da Vinci, but I do want to pull like the versions in the game. Again, the way you get to meet Leonardo.
Ezio, help Leonardo, will you?
So Ezio, what do you do?
He's been working for his father.
Ah, you're to be a banker.
For now. And you, Art, was it?
Truth be told, it's been difficult for me to settle.
That's so
nice,
cool.
But I often feel like my work lacks, I don't know,
He's in it quite a lot. There's a lot of Leonardo cutscenes.
Clever in its use of ancient languages. Maybe if I just... Oh, it seems to be a manual of sorts for different assassination techniques.
May I see it?
Wait, what's that? It's not so much a design this time, just a series of sketches. What to...
So, yeah, that's kind of
If
cool.
Machine.
Leonardo, what good is one fire going to do?
Not one fire, Ezio. A dozen.
So you get the point there. This is Machiavelli. I didn't know about that this person existed, so I'm pulling him. So yeah, Assassin's Creed has done a lot of work for us already and picked really interesting people in history. Piri Reis, I had heard of him, and he's in Revelations, but the Piri Reis map is like this alleged map, I believe, of it's either like Antarctica or Atlantis, and it got like separated between a lot of people. Black Flag is about the 1700s. You play the pirate lore, so you get Blackbeard, and we all know Blackbeard from Pirates of the Caribbean. So he gets another revival. Pirates. And let's see, there's who else? But yeah, I am taking Blackbeard. I do love the Age of Piracy as well. And then we're in the 1700s, which I believe there's 2 versions of it. So there's Assassin's Creed 3, and you do get George Washington, which is hilarious. And so this is Desmond's ancestor, Connor Kenway. And I am using George Washington as well. So actually, let me show you guys the George Washington cutscene, if you've not seen it already. Let me pull it up. There's also Benjamin Franklin and Paul Revere.
Tell me you have news of Pitcairn.
Did I get
I'm
this
told
right?
he's taken
Oh, that's
shelter
Sam
in
Adams. Let's see if it's this one.
For our mills, and her people shall become our slaves.
Like what?
Each of you shall profit from the sweat of their labors.
Wow, George Washington as a
Our
king.
nation shall rise to its proper place as the greatest of all, the most sovereign kingdom, the United States of America.
I don't know why he's wearing. Did he actually wear a king hat? A king crown? So the second version is the rogue, and I think you play the enemy in that version, but it's the same timeline, 1750s. And you also get George Washington and Benjamin Franklin. But yeah, I think obviously the overarching theme is Assassin versus Templar, and Templars want to control the world with the Pieces of Eden and, you know, mass mind control, whereas the Assassin wants free will and to liberate everyone. And that theme goes on from the Isu. You remember the Isu, the Anunnaki-like beings that wanted to control the world. So that whole theme of like the Templars wanting to control the world is just really like how the Isu wanted to control the world before. And then Unity is the French Revolution. So you get, pardon me, like, what was his name? Bonaparte. Napoleon and, oh my goodness, what's her name? Let them eat cake. Yeah, I'm blanking. I think one of these is Robespierre and then King Louis. And, oh wait. Marie Antoinette! I was like, what the heck? So, yeah. Let me pull a video clip from that, because I think the graphics improved quite a lot by this time. They're worth showing.
I'll knock you. There's no call for that. Move away.
So like you're like really in this French kind of landscape. So yeah, also, obviously a very cool concept that you can go through history and kind of use the same template, meet all these historical figures. And then Syndicate is the 1800s. Thanks for correcting me, Spirit. I was blinking. Queen Victoria's in this one. And who else? I think Charles Darwin. Wait. And Charles Dickens. That's who's in this one. So yeah, any other games I think haven't been as well received. I know that there's a new one, Shadows, about feudal Japan or something. That wasn't well received, so I didn't include it. And then there's a new one I think coming out this year next. But yeah, let me show you guys the Queen Victoria one. Victorian age Britain and Charles Dickens. So yeah, although these are all different series, in my book, I'm really gonna, in my sequel, I'm literally covering all these eras in one. But here's Queen Victoria. Okay, so as you can see, this game series really revolves around fair use and historical figures and Gnostic texts like the Nag Hammadi, which you can't really see right now, and against heresies. So these two sources plus the Sumerian tablets are really what inspired Assassin's Creed lore, and as well as my own novels too. So yeah, I really was so excited to cover this because I just couldn't believe how similar the world build was at the very in-depth version of the series. So yeah, I mean, a lot was covered, but again, so basically this is from Odyssey up till Syndicate in terms of the eras of history. Got Odyssey, Origin, Valhalla, the original, which is the Knights Templar era, the Italian 1400s Renaissance era, and here you get the Age of Piracy, 1700s, American Revolution, 1700s, French and then American, and then British Victorian era. So my series covers up until this point. This first book is basically I've written this amount of lore. So my sequel is basically going to cover from Valhalla, or really a little bit of a rerun. I'm going to cover a bit of a rerun from these, but most of the sequel is going to take place from Valhalla to all the way to Syndicate. So all those historical figures that you just saw me pull up and go, okay, from I don't know, from over here, Leonardo da Vinci, and from over there, Queen Victoria, all those people are in my series as well. And I just love that there's already an example out there for me, and also for you if you're writing, that already incorporates some lore from the Nag Hammadi, for example, into real life, historical figures. So it's been done before, and yeah, it's a proven track method, so long as your series obviously has some original factor to it. So anyway, that's it for today, you all. Sorry about the sporadic comments, but let me try to read some now. P. Fledge says, could you imagine an alternate history where in the 1800s the First World War happens and it's a lot of mishmash, but of arrows happening at once. None is without. Okay. Sorry, I might be really hard to read these comments. Let me go back a bit. Cyberpunk feature again. Oh yeah, where everyone wears VR glasses. Dark contact lenses, AI connected eye lenses. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can make an animus in real life. So if you go back to here, I don't know if they can or already have something like this, but it is a really interesting theory. And obviously they don't have this right now because this game talked about as if this would happen in 2012, but they don't have this technology now. But yeah, it is kind of like in Harry Potter, like the pensieve. So it's got this magical element to it. As far as if it can be replicated in real life, don't know. It doesn't seem to that degree. But in terms of like the simulation stuff, it is quite interesting. But yeah, I think that's it for now. I'm sorry I couldn't keep up with the chat a bit better. A lot of this goes over me too because I'm very new to the plot, and again, I just researched it for 1 month, so I'm not like a player. I've not played the series, but this is my interpretation of it. And yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. Oh my god, Spirit Warhammer. Spirit wants me to do a Warhammer stream, but I'm like completely adverse to war games and war stuff. But I might do it anyway, because like my sequel obviously is covering a lot of different wars in history, so that's maybe a good shout. Thank you y'all. Alright, so that's it. I'm just gonna play the intro hook because it's cool again, and that's it. Wait. It happened so quickly. Alright, have a good day, y'all.